spacers go on top. Can I help you?
How's it going, everybody? Today I'm going to show you guys how to install a 2-inch lids kit from ADF, Anderson Design and Fabrications, and it's going to go on this 07 Subaru Legacy wagon. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to do the multi-link subframe spacers, we're going to do trailing arms, and then we're going to try and get the 2-inch strut spacers on the rears today. And I'm going to show you guys how to do that. So stay tuned. This is going to work for the 05s to 09 Outbacks, Legacy sedans, I believe, and the Legacy wagon. Now, I haven't seen it done on the Legacy wagons before, but stay tuned and we're going to go ahead and do that. So let's go. Now that we have the KYB XLGs and the strut all assembled, we're going to get the spacer kit from the ADF kit we got here. Put this on top, and then so how this is going to work is the old strut bolts are going to come and bolt on right here, and then ADF actually has their strut bolts that are in here, or where are they? Right there for the bolts, and then we're going to go ahead and install those for the top one when they go into the car. So grab your old strut bolts and go ahead, and you're going to have to use an open wrench and basically wrench that on like that. And then once you tighten them, torque them, whatever, you can go ahead and then they're basically one full strut piece. And I'll show you guys how to install those. It's the same way as if you took the struts out without the spacers, you put it in. The only thing is it's going to sit longer when you put it in, so you have to kind of force the control arm down. It's going to be easier to have some help, but once we get to that stage, I'll show you guys how we do it. So now what we gotta do is we gotta loose the subframe bolts so that way you can get to the spacer kit. So what you're gonna have to do is unbolt a few of these right here. I'm gonna get under the car and show you guys what size the bolts are, and then yeah, let's get right to it. I'm gonna get some lights in here also. So subframe spacer is supposed to go right here in replacement of the old ones. So we're gonna take this out real quick. Make sure everything is jacked. You're gonna have to support the vehicle, and then you're gonna have to get a jack under the rear differential. So we're getting under here to where the subframe is. I'm gonna show you guys where the bolts are, and then you're gonna unbolt it yourself. And after I do it, I'll show you guys how it looks right after. So what you have here is the 4 subframe spacers. That's gonna be the one with the ADF logo that goes right here. These are gonna be 19mm bolts. Right there is 19mm bolts. Ooh, right there's 19mm bolts, and then you're gonna go ahead and undo those, remove the spacer, and then we're gonna replace it with the ADF spacer. So the ADF spacer bolts are gonna be 22, I believe. So that's different size than this. So this is the other side of the subframe. The other side's off. There's one. Those are super long. And that basically drops the subframe. I have the jack on the diff right here, so that's basically what's holding it. You're gonna have to drop it a little bit in order to put the spacers in between the subframes. So we got all the bolts off. We got that subframe spacer out, and we're about to drop the subframe right now, and have enough clearance to put in the ADF spacers and the trailing arms. So slow, and then if it's too fast you can tighten it right away. There you go. Slowly, slowly. Shit, I think that shit was moving. It was moving more than last time. Easy, easy, easy. Alright, that's let me grab a kit and see how far it is.
It's separating again.
Huh?
Separating.
Oh wait, I didn't pull the other side out, did I? Oh, I did. Right. Lower it again?
Bro, it's separated.
Guys, another thing I forgot to mention is don't forget to take off the brake lines right here. you're gonna have to take those off, because if you drop the subframe and the brake lines are still in, it's gonna basically tug on it. So take off the brake line right here. As you can see, it's on the other side as well. That's a 12 millimeter. And then you might want to take off one of the exhaust hangers. It could be that one, and the back two on the mufflers, or just the back two on the mufflers. I'm going to try, but either way, take those off. You're going to have more clearance. The subframe is actually bumping on the exhaust right here, so be sure to remove those, and you should be set to drop the subframe and then put the spacers in. There's also this brake line right here too. So there's two brake line bolts, both 12s, and then the exhaust hangers. So once you do that, you should have enough clearance and drop this freely. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. So the subframe has been dropped. We actually had to loosen the exhaust hangers. So basically you have to take out all the exhaust hangers. There's actually two on each muffler, and then there's one in the back down there in the center of the exhaust. And then basically once you drop the subframe, the exhaust will drop. Careful for that, it just dropped on us. But make sure the brake lines are all loosened and clear and not caught on the subframe, or else you're gonna rip something and it ain't gonna be pretty. So the way the spacers are gonna go in is the 4 ADF logo spacers are gonna go right here. They're the subframe spacers for the body. You're gonna have to put in a number 1 bag bolt like that. This goes onto the body, bolts in, and then the other bag is bag 2 of the bolts, is all numbered and labeled. We printed out ADF instructions, is also on the website. You can look it up. It's detailed instructions on the procedure. So basically those bolts bolt the bottom part of this down into the subframe mount, and then from there you'll have I'm guessing washers that go in the bottom as well. So, or vice versa, the bolt goes in up and then you have the washer inside the spacer kit right here. So let's go ahead and install those, and I'll show you guys after that what to do next. So I got all the spacers in, and just some information that might help you guys. Spacer for the subframe is all easy. Don't tighten it all the way before you put the trailing arm spacers in. And also the trailing arm spacers need to go in a certain way. Don't force the bolts. If you can see from here, the bolt is kind of angled. They designed it that way for a reason. Make sure it's angled facing towards the inside of the car. It's if you put it the opposite way and the bolt's angled the wrong way, the bolts won't line up. That goes for both trailing arm spacers. I actually stripped the bolt and I had to fix it, and it took a lot longer, and it was not worth the time. So trailing arm spacers, you want to be careful with that. Make sure the bolts, put it in first and see which way it angles, and make sure it's angled towards the car and leaning towards the car, because it won't fit for both sides. So you got to be careful of that. It's not in the instructions, but anyways, we got the kit in. We're about to button everything up, torque it to spec, and drop the car and put the exhaust back on. You do have to take the exhaust off. You want to take the brake lines right here off and everything, because it will get caught when you drop the subframe. Just be careful of that. There's actually a lot more things that I thought I had to do, and yeah, it was worth it. Now I'm gonna put everything back together and see how high this lift is. We got the strut spacers on the strut over there, and they're about to go in as well. So stay tuned, and let's get this finished up and show you guys the finished product. Alright guys, so now that the subframe spacers are all in, it's time to put in the struts, and yeah, hopefully everything goes well. Check this out, guys. The rear fitment, the subframe spacers and all that, trailing arm, corrected the geometry, and it's looking good, guys. This is basically where it's gonna sit for where I want. It might go up a little bit once I raise the front, but this thing is looking freaking meaty. It's looking high. We're gonna go ahead and measure the distance from the ground and see what that is, because last time I checked, it was like 5.5 or something. Oh my God, almost 11 3/4. That is pretty crazy. Pretty freaking crazy, guys. Huge lift. KYB struts, ADF 2-inch lift kit with the multi-link spacers, and you got the XT springs. And yeah, that's basically it. It's looking good. The Subi had a little bit of a makeover, and this is how it looks right now. We're gonna actually be getting the front lift in here soon. I had to order 2 spacers for the front, and those are coming along, but look at the rear. The rear is basically done. You got a good amount of clearance, 2-inch, you got the spacers in, and that's exactly kind of where I wanted it. We got 2-inch spacers, and it pokes out quite a bit, but I'm happy with it, guys. It looks really good. Man, I'm excited to see how it's gonna look with the front on, but that's it, guys. Let me know what you think. Comment down below if you guys like it. Thumbs up. I got a few accessories I need to throw on. We're trying to get a roof basket. I got the roof rack, and honestly, guys, I'm thinking about doing fender flares. So fender flares would be pretty freaking dope, considering that these will poke. So that's gonna be the next plan, and we're gonna do a little bit of things here and there. So I tinted the lights, and I plasti dipped this graphite. It looks a lot better, and I think it's just ties everything in together. So that's it for this video. Hope you guys like it. Hope you got some info out of it, and let me know what you think.